Okay, there's one more thing I am so excited or enriched and available to share. And this is a thought that came to me in my quiet time and my concentration on the one who formed me, on the one who formed you and formed all of us. And so I had this realization of this phenomena that if you really choose to change, then when you are brought into contact with that stimulus, which you choose to change, that you will know the territory of the temptation, and you will realize that you have always had, in the past until now, this behavioral instinct that has been a pattern, ingrained, conditioned response to the stimulus. Therefore, if you really, really, really desire to change, when you notice this thing that you choose to change and no longer partner with and no longer be in agreement with this being in your experience, then we will watch this, we will notice this, and when we see that expressing itself, that calling, that urge to do the muscle memory, the motor behavior of which we have always done until now, and we will choose to purposely not engage with that thing because we are sincere and we mean it and we are genuine and we choose to change. And while sometimes this is not always easy, right? And sometimes, yes, we might get very frustrated with ourselves and seek to control and do things from our own striving or struggle and strain and effort. However, I do not believe that this is how the change is going to occur. In my experience, there is a grace that will come over us, and the desires of our heart are changed. We no longer wish to be in agreement with these things because we really do choose to change our lives. And so therefore, when we see it, that thing that we say we want to change, we don't want to do anymore, and we have no self-control, right? We notice, we be still, take a breath, and do our best to not do the thing which we said that we will no longer do. And there comes a time where that behavior of not engaging with the thing isn't so much of something that is so out of reach or hard to do. Instead, it is a blessing and a victory within ourselves that we choose to change. And I would love to give a few examples. One of those things, and one of my favorite ways to teach, is to express my own personal experience, so that I'm speaking from a I, a me, a my personal experience, instead of projecting onto you or accusing or judging, labeling, analyzing, classifying. Yeah? Okay, so for me, my engagement and habit has been using food for comfort. And so I will eat bread and sugar. And so, since I am witnessing that sometimes I am lacking self-control, and that I am choosing to go to those places, which can be called other life sources, other love sources, and other light sources, instead of going to Heavenly Father God, yes, straight to the source, that I am attempting to get control myself through my own behavior and striving and seeking to have power, right? To be my own God, if you will, right? The ego, I'm trying to control and work things out so that I can feel comfortable or feel soothing or feel some type of feeling. And sometimes it's just a bad habit that I've had for so long. And I can make accusations and blaming or accusatory labelings that, oh, I've done this since I was a kid, or I was given this as a reward, and so my brain learned that those two things go together and is a reward. However, in this case, I am choosing to see that it does not help me and my health and my other goals for me to choose to engage with that mindlessly. And I'm not saying I can never, ever have a co-op pumpkin cookie again, for example. However, I am attempting to remove natural flavors from my personal diet. And so for me, it is a process, and sometimes resisting the urge to feed that habit, which could be something of, let's say, even subtleties of eating pizza or pasta, or things that just aren't the greatest nutrients that I could give my body. If I would not be lazy and choose to love myself in a way where I take the time to prepare and personalize my food to my needs, of what I actually need, not just what the gut bacteria in my body is craving at this time, because I have allowed it to fester and to keep feeding it over, sometimes I can say lifetimes. Yes, and not so much like lifetimes in the way that the New Age community says, okay? And no judgments, to each their own, okay? But I mean like all the different selves that I've been throughout my life. Imagine I was a different version of myself at every year of my life. And so now I'm in the 32nd version of myself. I'm 32 years old. And so that makes me think of another thing. So for me, something that I can partner with is getting my identity from the way that I look. And so there have been times where I am putting on makeup and I am lacking self-love for myself, and I do not feel beautiful. And I nitpick at my face. I say, oh, look at this mark. Look at this rosacea. Oh my, look at this skin. Another thing I'm experiencing is my lips lately. I have to apply vitamin E oil because my skin is so dry from the cold and they are chapped, and it's almost as if I can't get enough water. And so I've begun doing my homework on the liver and dehydration. This is a subject I'm also excessively interested in. However, I recognize I'm getting off topic and I would like to stay focused. However, for me, in my mind, all of these things are interconnected to my personal relationship with myself and with food, and what I will allow me to give to me. And if I recognize you as another me, what will I allow you, me, to give to me? Will I allow myself to receive comfort? Will I welcome you comfort? Or will I push that away because it's not familiar and it's not what has been common in my past experience? I do believe that this is my personal choice, that I can choose to participate and to allow those things, or the other way, where I can build that muscle and it can become familiar to me to be in comfort and to be lined up in the box, if you will, of me, lined up with my source, right? And being that version of me, instead of trying to make myself fit an imaginary made-up box that just me as I am the box, as my beloved teacher Susie has taught me yesterday. I'm very blessed to have met her, should I say to have met her. And there's many more things that I would love to share. However, I'm going to end this here, and I will be glad to continue this conversation with anyone else. And I do have a couple other ideas and things I love to go over. So if there's anyone who would be interested in meeting with me and discussing on my podcast, or should I call it my video cast, but it's my YouTube podcast called Testimony in a Tub. And there are some very particular topics and individuals that I would love to interview more than others. One of them being is, if you consider yourself a believer, I would love to have a public discussion and to go live through Zoom and to pick your brain and to walk through testimony in a tub. And if there's anyone who has a testimony that would be open to sharing their testimony, and I could talk about my testimony, and we can have a mutual beneficial conversation, that would also be quite extravagant. And I'm also going to be starting another podcast, and I will talk a little bit more about that later. I'm pretty excited to tell you about it. I'm tempted to say the name right now. However, I'm going to wait. I might drop some little subtle hints and clues on my Instagram if you choose to keep an eye out there. So, aho mataki oyasin, all my relations, we are one. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for listening, and may you have great success in all the things you choose to change. Shalom, peace, and life to you.